Hey everybody, so I have just ordered a new Shimpo slab roller, the SR-30, the 30-inch table. I think it's 5 foot by 30. So it's going to arrive with this tiny little book of instructions here, and they're not very clear. So your first entire assembly, which gets you to this entire stage, is pretty much one sentence. So basically, all these boxes, there's 4 boxes that come. It's like Christmas Day at your place when you go to open these up. The first box, you open it up in order, box 1. Box 1 will contain 2 side rails. It will contain the 2 long side rails that have the clips, 2 L brackets, and 4 legs, and all of your mounting hardware. Your mounting hardware is all in little bags. It doesn't give you any tools to put this together, so you need to make sure that you have either a wrench or something. I thankfully have an impact, but as you can see here, you need 11/16 bolts on here. It comes with a bolt, you have a lock nut, and then the actual nut that goes on the end. I use an impact, so the impact helped me out pretty much. This particular stage, as you see, it's pretty much you bolt the 3 bolts on each side of the leg for each corner. These open holes are up, and then the actual slab roller mounting brackets go on. And the impact does a really good job there of tightening it up. So way less time using an impact wrench. Just set the impact pretty low. As I start the next set of instructions, this is instruction 3 already, is basically getting the slab roller out of the box and installing it. So I'll do that, and I'll add that to this video. Alright guys, box 2, the second heaviest box of the group. This is the actual slab roller here, so you have to pull all this stuff out. You have the handles, the adjustment handles for the thickness, how thick you want the clay, and your actual canvas. I think there's 2 sheets of canvas in there, and then the actual slab roller unit. It's muscle power. If you can't lift heavy stuff, you definitely shouldn't try installing this, because some of these boxes are pretty darn heavy. And then once this unit is put together, I mean, you can see it's super sturdy. That's all pretty thick gauge steel. That's just the base. Doesn't have the roller assembly, doesn't have the big crank wheel, doesn't have the tabletop on. Alright, so I found it easier just to tip the box upside down and then slide it out. And by doing so, I have my turn knobs already on the top here. Somewhere in this mess of packaging, you can see here is the canvas. Somewhere are the knobs. So I gotta take it all apart, find the knobs. You attach them, and then you have to pick the whole thing up and put it onto here for the next stage of mounting. Alright, so once you get the actual roller assembly up on top, in the hardware kit, there's these particular screws. There's only 4 of them. Focus in on that. 4 of them, washer and a wing nut. You have got to put into, like, it's a slotted thing, so I guess where you can adjust it, and then the washer and then the wing nut. And there's 4 of them, 2 on each side. Another 2 over there. And the only other thing was I did find the handles. Make sure that the nut is all the way up tight, and then you screw it in. It gives that wheel the ability for this handle to spin. Alright, let me get those on and get to the next step. Alright, so the big flat box, when we open it up, this is the 3rd box of the set. and these are supposed to be the wood tabletops. So you got to take these out, and then there is a mounting bracket over here. That's this bag. This is the piece that will attach onto this particular board, and then we'll see what happens after this. Supposedly there's a couple of mounting holes, and this actually comes with some tools, so some Allen wrenches or something. So it should theoretically be easy. We'll see. Once you get the styrofoam off, you can totally see here they already have these pre-drilled for you, so I don't think attaching those brackets are going to be a major feat of engineering. But again, this particular model, I assume with all slab rollers, it is really pretty heavy. So if you are not in good physical shape, I would not suggest trying to assemble one of these or even move it at all by yourself. Alright, so for each of these little brackets, if you noticed on that little long stretcher that goes across the legs, they have those clamps. So this clamps, it's like a compression clamp. So it clamps onto this and it really locks the table down. The weird thing about this assembly is you have a nut which goes up from underneath, and then you have a washer, and then you have a wing nut, which in theory wing nuts are supposed to be able to be tightened by hand, but you can't, because when you put it in here it locks against the clamp, so you have to use that little Allen wrench underneath the screw, so it has that head on it, to be able to tighten it. So it kind of locks against this, and then you can really tighten it with the Allen wrench. Each one of these has 3 bolts with the wing nuts, and there are 4 on this table. So it's a bit. It'll take a few minutes to get this working. I'll show you the end result. Alright, so once you get all of these little clasps attached, you can see on this side now, once it's turned over, they have that hexagonal Allen wrench head. You can tighten them. You will notice something, that there are 2 edges on this table. One is a pretty flat edge, and then there's a contoured edge which meets the contour with these rollers. I am assuming that that contour goes towards these rollers, because yet again this really detailed book has no directions on which way it goes. That's the way I set it up, and I left a little bit of a space. It also does not tell you how much space you should leave between the roller and the table. Clearly you don't want them to touch, because this is quite abrasive there. I guess you always make sure your clay never touches this, or you have to get it out like right away. The clamps, again, you'll see these clamps, it's got this edge, and then basically it just latches down. Last part is the box that has either the crank or the wheel assembly, so that you can crank it. These manual adjusters are synced with a chain in here, so when you adjust one, it adjusts everything. And you can see it has gauging. It's measuring plate there. It's really shiny, so it's hard to pick it up. But right there, it only has the halves, holds in halves, and then of course it goes by eighths, so it shouldn't be too hard to figure out. Alright, so when you open up the last box, box 4 of 4, I wasn't actually expecting this. It has both a crank and the big like ship wheel looking thing. It's supposed to be easier to help you roll out clay, so you've got options. This attaches onto this crank here. We have to remove this set screw and then readjust it through the given hole that's provided on those cranks. I'm assuming that this must be one of these additional Allen wrenches that are in here, because I'm not sure what these are actually for. So far there hasn't been many extra pieces, just one washer so far. I'll let you know what it looks like. Alright, so I've taken the wheel out, and basically the little set screw on the wheel, you have to back it out a little bit, and then you'll see that this has got a notch that fits onto these other like gauges. So you push it in, and then with the Allen wrench they give you, you are going to tighten this down, and that should be final assembly for this. I would just make sure you set this pretty tight. Let's just, I'm not afraid to break the Allen wrench, but oh well. Alright, and then that's it. This is what turns your slab roller. Right now the slabs they come with cardboard in there to protect them, so like, you know, that they don't go down. But if you need to adjust this up, you just turn one knob. You can see when you turn one, they turn in sequence with each other, and it raises that particular thing. Rollers are raised. You put your clay inside its canvas, and then you feed it through. And this is it's not the gear-driven one. This is the one that you can push clay through either way, forwards or backwards. I couldn't see spending the extra $100 and something bucks on it, so it should work. And of course, then this is its installed look. It's supposed to be 5 foot, maybe. It's definitely heavy. That's it. That is the Shimpo slab roller model SR-30. And it's very, very non-detailed directions. Well, I hope this mini crash course tutorial on how to assemble this helped you guys. Please feel free to take a look at my sites on Etsy and both eBay Dirt Poor Ceramics. Remember, it's always fun playing in mud.